Hello there, YouTube. I am Necrostevo. It is time for Week 6 in the Pokemon Premier League Season 3. Our opponent this week is Vepsis and the Helsinki Hydreigons. Now, our opponent is one that we faced last season for the first time, and similarly to our last week opponent, Seabad, we lost to Vepsis last season. So this is our time for redemption. This is our time to bring things back. And I appreciate you being here as we journey just a little bit deeper to see what we can do. So as always, there will be a team builder up front, but if you just can't wait to jump right into the action, then of course you can find the timestamp below. Let's get started. First, as always, let's review our opponent's team. Vepsis has brought to this battle Tornadus, Ogerpon Wellspring form, Hydreigon, Swampert, Conkeldurr, Hydrapple, Diancie, Revavroom, Rotom, and Greedent. His Terra captains are the Hydrapple, which can go into a Fairy or a Steel type, and Diancie that can go into a Fire or a Water type. This week's team builder is going to be much more simplistic and faster than before, because the game plan this week is to get our Primarina on this field as many times as possible and throw off as many powerful choice specs boosted attacks as possible. Our Primarina does have enough speed to outspeed a max speed Jolly Conkeldurr, because we don't make the same mistake twice, and we already ran into that when we got outsped by near max speed Iron Hands with 1 Zebanette. Primarina here can basically just click Moonblast and Surf and Hydro Pump all day, and there's not too much he can do about it. After that, we have Primarina's main form of support, which is Regieleki. Regieleki with this speed investment ensures that it'll outspeed a Scarf Tornadus Therian, and that means that I can set up Volt Switch and Rain Dance around all day in order to not only support Electro Shock coming from my Archaludon, but Light Screen and Reflector here to decrease the damage for Primarina, who's very naturally bulky, Archaludon, who's very naturally bulky, Darkrai, who's pretty bulky, especially for how fast he is, and Bronzong and Clodsire, who are very naturally, anyways, you get it. So we have some good screen support going on here. Now, because he has a Swampert, we do have to be careful with Regieleki, but Regieleki can take an Earthquake from Swampert after I set up the Reflect, so it's going to really depend on how I'm able to position Regieleki in this matchup. Speaking of Archaludon, this week we are running, once again, the bold maximum defense Archaludon. The moveset we have is with the Assault Vest, rocking Electroshot, Body Press, Flash Cannon, and Dragon Pulse. Archaludon is a very good natural defensive check for his Ogerpon, and on the off chance that something like Revavroom comes, being a more physical attacker there, Archaludon can be a check to that as well. With this investment, it outspeeds a max speed Diancie, and it is guaranteed to one-shot Revavroom with Electroshot, unless Revavroom happens to have some sort of bulk or investment there. We did go with Dragon Pulse because I did anticipate situations where I would need Archaludon to take more than one hit at a time, and I didn't want to be forced off the field in order to do that. Our Darkrai this week has Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Nasty Plot, and Sludge Wave. With these moves, Darkrai achieves near perfect coverage against his entire team, and with the speed investment, Darkrai will always outspeed Tornadus Therian form, and Nasty Plot is a lot easier to set up underneath the screen support that Regieleki will be bringing to this battlefield. Really looking forward to seeing Darkrai rock those heavy-duty boots this week. Until I'm ready to click Nasty Plot, there is a chance that he could get up entry hazards, whether it's spikes from Ogerpon, rocks from the Diancie, or even toxic spikes from Revavroom, and I don't want Darkrai to be taking unnecessary damage throughout the battle, so this is the week where we're going to be walking in those black boots.
What have you do? What's up with the leg strike? running. I'm just putting the show in the showdown.
And I'm looking forward to bringing Darkrai in, throwing off attacks, and then swapping it out into my 2 defensive Pokemon this week. My Terra Poison Bronzong with Stored Power, Body Press, Iron Defense, and Calm Mind. That's right, we have a double dance Bronzong. And with Terra Poison, his team really struggles to hit it super effectively. Now I do want to be careful with Terra Poison early on, especially if he has Hydreigon, because if I Terra and then he has other ways to hit me, I want to be aware of switching between that Psychic typing and the Poison typing. Now, when I go Terra Poison with Levitate, that means my only weakness is Psychic, and he has no Psychic moves, and I don't think that he will see that coming. Our final Pokemon is Clodsire, who has an Unaware ability, and with a Careful Nature with max Special Defense investment, we have Gunk Shot, Earthquake, Spikes, and Recover. But I decided to run a Pasho Berry this week in order to kind of split the differential between going Water Absorb for his Ogerpon or having Unaware. Because if I went with Water Absorb as my ability and then he set up, he could KO me with the Grass type move. But if I went with Unaware and he just clicked the Ivy Cudgel Water type, that would kind of squash my Clodsire. So this allows us to basically have access to both abilities at the same time, functionally on the field. Other things we need to be careful about here are things like the Diancie setting up Trick Room, and that is another reason why I want to have Clodsire and Bronzong in this matchup, because not only can they set up alongside Diancie, but Diancie struggles to 3-shot or even 4-shot Bronzong in that situation. So that is our team this week, a nice, quick, smooth, silky, delicious team builder. We like them quick, we like them fast, just like those burgers and that. Let's get into the battle. A note for the editor, which is me. We actually ended up making a few swaps right before the battle. So Regieleki no longer has Rain Dance. We swapped it to Thunderbolt to give us like a last ditch cleanup effort attacking move. And then we also swapped Electro Shot off of our Caludon for Thunderbolt for a little bit more consistency, particularly against the Tornadus. Now in this battle, you can see that Vepsis, whom you should absolutely check out in the description by the way, he has brought his Tornadus Therian, his Hydrapple, Diancie, Conkeldurr, the Ogerpon Wellspring, and the Swampert. So as dismayed as we are to see the Swampert, this was expected, and Swampert especially gives our Primarina opportunities to throw off myriad strong choice specs moves. Now the other thing that I wanted to do in this battle was to make sure that Clodsire had several opportunities to set up spikes on the opponent. I'm anticipating with this battle that there's going to be a lot of swapping because he tends to like to rely on his Regenerator Mons. Whenever they swap out, of course they get their HP back, and so if I can chip them away when they come back on the field, then I can at least offset some of that regeneration a little bit. That'll also put some of his Pokemon into key ranges. Now he ends up leading off with Hydrapple, and I lead Regieleki to immediately get some screens up. Knowing that Hydrapple gets Earth Power, I considered just raw swapping out here or even going for a Volt Switch, but I wanted to get the light screen up first, because he could also very easily swap right out to a Swampert on this, and that would prompt me to go for my Reflect. He surprises me by going for the turn 1 Terra, swapping Hydrapple to a Steel type here. Now this is actually pretty nice because that means that he no longer will resist the water moves from my Primarina. So here we go for Light Screen. The Light Clay is going to give me 8 turns of reduced damage, and Earth Power is not a 2-hit KO through the Light Screen, which informs me that this is a pretty bulky Hydrapple. And that also made me wonder, I wonder if that thing is Assault Vested. Just because I haven't hit it yet, but since he went that bulky, he's going to want it to take hits. Now anticipating another Earth Power, or maybe even swapping up to a coverage move like a Dragon type move, I had to go out into my Bronzong here. Now I could have gone straight for Body Press, but I decided to try to grab an Iron Defense, expecting him to want to swap out to one of his physical attackers. And I was confused because my Iron Defense went first, and then I went, oh, he has Dragon Tail, so That completely invalidates my Bronzong set. That was a really interesting move to go for right there, though, because now it brings in my Clodsire. Since Clodsire is on the field, I know it can take any special hit from the Hydrapple, and we're going to continue with our initial strategy of setting up those spikes, just putting those Caltrops out on the field and hoping for the best. Now, Conkeldurr does swap in immediately here, and I was hoping to not see the Flame Orb, but Flame Orb means that his Guts is activated, and so his physical attacks are going to have an extra 50% in power. I really thought hard about what to swap in here, and I decided that he was most likely going to either defog or go for Facade. I kind of ignored the more obvious option, which was just him going for Knockoff because it removed an item, and I basically sacrificed my Bronzong for no reason here. Now, I really did think about this play. My thought was that he needed to get the spikes off the field because he was so pressured to swap around, so I thought he would click defog there. Alas, that is not how that went. If I had Terra'd my Bronzong earlier when it was in against the Hydrapple, then it would have been also okay to swap in there on a knockoff, but I really thought that Facade was coming to KO my Conkeldurr, so that is unfortunate. It is not okay. We're going to take immediate revenge by going out to Primarina. With the choice specs, I'm just going to throw off a Moonblast here. He can swap out to the Hydrapple if he wants to. Again, I just want the Conkeldurr off the field. He's going to take entry hazard damage. So he comes in, takes the spikes. Moonblast, if he were not Assault Vest, would have done way more damage there. And that was just like an easy calc to have ahead of time. So knowing that he is Assault Vested, and of course I'm locked into Moonblast, we are going to swap out here and go back out to Clodsire. The reason I went out into Clodsire here is because even if he went for Earth Power, expecting the swap, it would be a 3-hit KO at best on me, and I would threaten him back with Earthquake. Light Screen does wear off here, and that was another thing because I didn't get up Reflect. When Bronzong came in, he took a lot of damage there. So here, I'm going to make a little bit of a prediction and double back into my Primarina, expecting him to either go out to his Conkeldurr or go out to his Swampert. I was very pleased to see the Swampert swap back into the field here. Since Swampert comes in, that means that my Primarina is poised to throw off some attacks, and this time, we are going for the big guns. No more Moonblast. We're not clicking Surf. We're clicking Hydro Pump. Hydro Pump would of course put massive pressure onto the Swampert if it stays in, and the more likely swap into the Hydrapple after spikes, I can two-shot him with Hydro Pump easily from full. So he comes in, takes the spikes, and we miss the Hydro Pump. But that is okay. Missing a Hydro Pump is to be expected in the terms of battle. Here I was kind of thinking, I think he's probably going to expect me to go back out to Clodsire, so I didn't anticipate him going for Giga Drain. More likely he would be going for Earth Power to catch my Clodsire coming back in. So I just stay in and go for Hydro Pump again. Why not? It missed the first time, but here if I can hit him as he goes for the Earth Power, then I can at least force him out into the Ogre Pond after that. But we miss another Hydro Pump. Earth Power does negligible damage, but it does get the special defense drop, which means I can no longer stay in here very easily because he can just go for Giga Drain, and at -1 SPDF, I'm probably getting, I guess, my proverbial clock cleaned, as it were. I was really tempted to go for a third Hydro Pump, but the Giga Drain was, it's coming at this point, and there's not a lot that I don't need to lose the HP for no reason. So he goes for another Earth Power, so I actually probably could have stayed in there, because I would have taken another Earth Power easily. And here I have to make a decision, do I want more spikes, or do I go back to the Primarina? It is a tough decision. I also even consider Gunk Shot here, because I was like, alright, if he swaps out in the Swampert, I can get a Poison. If he swaps out to the Ogre Pond, I'm expecting an Earthquake, I can hit it really hard. I go for the Gunk Shot, and I miss the Gunk Shot, which means I also don't get the extra damage on the Swampert or the Poison chance there. So, I don't really know what's going on with missing this many moves back to back. I'm assuming that it has something to do with the waxing cycle of the moon. Even as I'm recording this, I just realized I'm recording this on the full moon. Don't you knock it off, Swampert. I need the spectacles for the damage. Okay, so I go back out to my Primarina in order to soak what I'm hoping is him setting up his Stealth Rocks. But no, he goes for knockoff. And so that made me think, okay, he must not have the Stealth Rocks, because he would have surely set those up earlier if he had those. So here I do go for the very wimpy Surf. And you can see, based off of that damage, if I had hit the Hydro Pumps, this Hydrapple would at least not be in front of me. He probably would have swapped it out to recover its HP, because Hydrapple is a very important piece for him in this battle. And those Hydro Pumps would have really helped wear it down. Now, the one good thing that is around losing the specs is that I can go for Flip Turn here, and that way I don't have to guess if he's swapping out. I do like that, being able to change on my moves here, but I really preferred the power. Just like the Nintendo Power magazine, like when you're playing with that power, you really feel it. Here, though, we do end up getting hit by a Giga Drain as I go out to my Clodsire, and since I have been missing my moves, I'm like, okay, we need to get our vitality back, just get our energy back, go for that recover, and get the HP back, because we're swapping in a lot, and I need to make sure that I stay at a high amount of HP. So he brings back out his Swampert. As I go for recover, I get back up to full health, and now that Swampert is here, I'm expecting either a knockoff, an Earthquake, or I am completely discounting him setting up his rocks at this point. So I was like, he might even go for Flip Turn here, because we're switching around a lot. I decide that I want another layer of spikes, and I call it incorrectly as he hits me with a big Earthquake that takes me well below 30% HP there. 2 layers of spikes is really nice here though, because that means if his Hydrapple swaps in, I can 2-shot it with my Primarina. But now that I know that he's not attack invested, he can't KO my Primarina with an Earthquake. And so I decide to once again try to go for the very aggressive play. I'm going to go out here knowing that if he does go for Earthquake, it won't KO me, and it will put me into Torrent range. Now here, because I lost my choice specs, having Torrent boosted water type attacks means that it's like I have a choice specs on just the water type moves. So once again, we're going to try this. Hydro Pump Primarina, and this time I will... Exactly. You're going to hit that move. Look at that damage. Beautiful damage. Refreshing to see. We're clicking the Hydro Pump again. Yes, I know the Ogerpon can come in. I don't care, because if I go for a Moonblast and he stays in, he will KO me. But if he goes out to the Ogerpon, I have a swap into that. So I was very happy to finally hit a freaking Hydro Pump. Ogerpon does swap in, and so that means that we are forced out here. And because my HP is so low, I'm expecting that he knows that he can just go for a coverage move, maybe even go for a Trailblaze or try to set up. But that does not change that Archaludon is our dedicated switch. And so we bring in the bridge just to look for additional opportunities. Now he does go for Stomping Tantrum, which is fine. You can see that even before the stamina boost, it's a 3-hit KO with our defensive investment. And now that I have the defensive boost, Body Press is my strongest move that I can go for here. Now he could swap out to the Tornadus, but Tornadus, unless it's a defensive Tornadus, really does not want to take a +1 Body Press. And I would have the Thunderbolt for coverage afterwards. I really did consider leaving Electroshot on this, because I was just envisioning opportunities where I could force something out and go for Electroshot on the switch. But seeing the damage on Tornadus tells me that it's a much more bulky Tornadus, and he has Rocky Helmet, so I take a little bit of extra damage. But this is why we decided to pack the Assault Vest. We barely hold on from that Focus Blast, which he just hits the Focus Blast. Clearly he's not blinded by the sun bouncing off the moon. Don't appreciate it at all here. But he manages to hit the Focus Blast. We live and do a lot of damage with Thunderbolt, but not enough to KO him very critically. At this level of HP, it does not make sense to try to swap out. He could very easily go for a coverage move and hit something coming in. And so I just decide to stay in, and he goes for Air Slash, which is a little bit cheeky there. 95% accurate move here. We hit those. You just have to click the buttons with confidence. We hit the Hypnosis a couple of weeks ago against the Iron Boffin, and so now we're paying for it. Similarly, I guess we did get a little bit of luck against Mephisto, and then of course against Seabad. So maybe all these things, just like the moon, are coming in cycles, and that can be okay. That is a part of the Mons, just like sacrificing things is a part of Pokemon. Just like going and clicking Hydro Pump as many times as you can just to waterboard your opponent is a part of Pokemon. Regaining my composure, we go out to Regieleki, and here we have a few pieces left in this battle, but now that we know that the Tornadus is not scarfed, and we know that out of the things that we have seen, Darkrai outspeeds everything that he has remaining. Now the one thing there is that Darkrai needs to stay at high HP or have a Reflect Up in order to live on Mach Punch from the Conkeldurr. We can do this. This battle is not over yet because I can set up... Oh, well, he is not Assault Vested, and now my Primarina is dead on entry because of the Stealth Rocks. Very well played, Vepsis. Because of how the Swampert was swapped out so much earlier, I definitely thought it was Assault Vest, and that I did not have access to Stealth Rocks. So he saved that, and now that Primarina is unfortunately going to have to be sacrificed. I decided to go ahead and bring it in here expecting Earthquake, maybe Knockoff, neither of which I want to swap Darkrai directly into. And so Primarina sacrifice will be used to fuel an opportunity for Darkrai. With the screens up here, this means that Darkrai can come in, set up a nasty plot, and I am faster than every single one of his team members and have super effective coverage for basically everything he has left bar the Diancie, which cannot KO me in one hit. Man. Vepsis, I would like to know, sir, how does it feel to have the Roar Tech for this situation? Because for me, it makes me feel so... I guess emotional? Is emo the right word there? I'm not sure. It was very annoying to go, alright, I have a path to victory here, set up the nasty plot, and then get roared out immediately. Again, the whole time I thought that he had Assault Vest, so why would I be... Oh man, such good tech.
Ah, that's good, Joe.
I hate it. I hate it. They normally say you love to see it, you hate to see it. But on the other side of that, I can still possibly set up my Darkrai for an endgame, but the clock is ticking. So number one, I do have to sacrifice my Clodsire here. Number two, I need to get Darkrai in underneath the screen. Here, I'm bringing it back in to hopefully bait him into going for Roar, and I can just go for Dark Pulse. Now, I still have some turns of screens left, but I really need to get those screens refreshed. If I can envision an endgame here, I have the positioning to where if I can get up a nasty plot with 3 turns of my screens left, then I can still win this battle. But it really started right there. It would have been great to KO the Swampert right there, because then that would have opened up my Regieleki for the end game. But we weren't able to KO the Swampert for that last little tiny bit of HP there. So either another layer of spikes, or hitting the Gunk Shot, or hitting the Hydro. Anything would have helped with that tiny amount of HP left. But now my Regieleki is not able to hit the Swampert, and that means that swapping Thunderbolt on it into the last minute there won't actually help, because I'm not going to have enough HP there. I do decide to get up one final screen with my Regieleki, and now we have to hope that with this nasty plot that we will have enough damage output in order to kind of muscle our way through the end game here. Now he surprises me by immediately swapping out, and Vepsis, you swapped out to preserve the 6-0, sir? Sir, how dare you? Do you not see how emo I am? Someone has to die here. I don't care if it's your Diancie, I don't care if it's the Swampert. Someone needs to die. So we go for the Sludge Bomb with +2. We do poison the Diancie, we take those, but he has Draining Kiss, and so he's going to be getting back a lot of the HP that we deal to him in damage. It's definitely not going to be offset by the poison. I was also really tempted here to go for another nasty plot, but since my light screen wore off, I really can't take hits. And ultimately, after all this, Conqueror is in the back with Mach Punch. I was tempted to go for Dark Pulse to try to flinch. Ice Beam would do more damage in my brain just because I like how cool it looks, because it's you know, it's ice versus poison. I don't know. I was really racking my brain here at the end game on how can I really win this, and I was like, I need a flinch here. And I don't get the flinch, and he gets a critical hit Draining Kiss, which is going to basically bring him back to full HP. Oh, I could write a whole song. With my frustrations in this endgame here. Not even insult to injury, that's just injury to injury. We do get the flinch, which he might be in range for a Sludge Bomb to KO him to save the Victorian Shadows from being 6-0'd here. This was no longer a fight to win. This was a fight for my Darkrai's pride. He's out here getting kissed to death. No, get the heck out of here, Diancie. None of that. I know Conkeldur's in the back. I don't care. Get the hell out of here. I don't appreciate it, Vepsis. Making me go through all that to KO one of your Pokemon. Do you see me? Well, you probably can't. It's dark in here. Sorry. No cursing. Editor, can you please put a cool noise over that so that this is family friendly? Thank you all so much for watching Week 6 with the Victorian Shadows losing 5-0 against the Helsinki Hydreigons. Vepsis' channel will be in the description. Please go check it out, because he is a very skilled opponent that apparently we are not set to overcome yet. I hope you all enjoyed this battle and this narration. I appreciate you all for being here. Next week will be Week 7, and that will be up against Shroom Raver. I will let you all in on a secret. We are not out of playoff contention. We are 2-3. Now our differential sucks, but the last 3 teams that we have remaining to go up against all have better differential and records than us. And if we beat all of them, we absolutely can still join in on playoffs. So that's going to be our goal. That and, you know, a sacrifice here or two. But stick around. We'll see how we do. I know what I need to do. Shroom, it's time for you to have some bad dreams, sir. Good night, everyone. Ultimately, it doesn't matter how I feel. I am far too stoic to ever let my emotions get the best of me on the battlefield. Oh man, but those emo rock bands, they really have something. I would never. I could never. But I get it. Anyways, Billiam, what are you listening to today? Why are you crying? I can't take you anywhere.
Oh, Master, it's so hard to watch you fight a battle like this. You're doing your best, but the attacks just ain't hitting. And I understand what you mean. Feeling emo. Watching you up there fight at your hardest, it just makes me want to sing.
Cause tonight will be the night that I will fall for you over again. Don't make me change my mind, or I won't live to see another day. I swear it's true, because a man like you is impossible to find. It's impossible to and remember me